Hey everybody, I'm Kate Conroy,
And I'm Vanessa Vitello.
and this is Other People's Business, which is the podcast from the New Jersey Business and Industry Association, the largest statewide business association in the country, representing about 1 million employees, which is about 1/4 of New Jersey's workforce. We release a new episode every other Wednesday, so be on the lookout for that. Shout out to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group. They do home, auto, and workers' comp, so check them out if you need some updated coverage.
Awesome. Just a couple of housekeeping matters before we get this train rolling. This podcast is available just about anywhere you can get a podcast. That's iTunes, Google Play, Amazon's TuneIn. We even throw these things up on YouTube if you'd rather watch than listen. But no matter how you check the show out, show it some love. Give it that like, give it that comment, give it that 5-star review on iTunes. Helps us get discovered by more awesome listeners who you would be surprised to find are a lot like you. So with all that out of the way, our awesome guests today from Verus are Mark Eveland and Michelle Benton. Say hi, let the audience hear your voices.
Hi guys, how are you doing?
Awesome. How are you?
Fantastic.
Hey, Vinny. Hi, Kate.
Hi.
Thanks for having us on today.
Pleasure's all ours.
It's absolutely our pleasure. Okay, so today's icebreaker is, what are you currently binging? And it can be books, movies, TV. Some people have used food. We don't judge. It's fine. Who wants to go first?
Oh gosh, well, you'll get a twofer with me because I am currently binging on these little things called Nightingale ice cream bars, ice cream sandwiches.
Ooh.
And so somebody gave them to us for Christmas, and I'm thinking, oh, ice cream sandwich. They're like those yucky things, from elementary school. These are so divine. They have raspberry truffle with a chocolate cookie bar dipped in chocolate. So my favorite thing to do on that, cut one in half, let it melt a little so it's like marshmallowy. And depends on whether my husband's home or not as to what I binge. So if he's gone, I've been on Frankie and Grace, or Grace and Frankie, because I just think that's what my life is going to be at some point.
With any luck, right?
Yeah. Living with my best friend from law school, and the episode that they had where Grace cannot get off of the Italian sofa because it's so low to the ground and her knees give out and she can't get up. I'm looking over at my new sofa going, I should really rethink that. But that's what
I want to double back for a second. Wait, tell me the name of the ice cream sandwich thing.
We need the brand name.
Yeah, no, I'm all on board for this. Like
Nightingale, you said?
Nightingale and Gold Belly has them. They have an assortment box with like birthday cake and chocolate mint. Oh, fat banana. That's a great one because the cookie on that one is a peanut butter cookie with the banana in the middle of it.
I mean, I'm definitely sold. I just want to defend the original ice cream sandwich for a second that you called gross. Those things were amazing. I don't care. Like, this sounds like it's 10 times better, and I'm all for it. But like, I feel like to besmirch the good name of the original ice cream sandwich just feels overly harsh.
Well, sorry, but I was like the Eskimo pie, fan there because I could peel the chocolate off of the ice cream.
I had forgotten about Eskimo pies until you just said that, because that was the one with the hard chocolate shell, right? Right. It was almost crunchy when you ate it.
Yeah,
that sounds fantastic.
I was like, gnaw the crunchy chocolate off first.
Oh my God, it's like winter, and I am dreaming about ice cream thanks to you. This is crazy.
I am not going to tell my wife about
So
one last with the box. If you've got like a second freezer somewhere in the house that gets like used less, hide the thing in there. The Nightingales, or whatever, they can be exclusively yours.
Absolutely, yeah. 2 extra freezers actually. One has my husband's snacks, and the other has just the ice cream.
So one last follow-up question on the ice cream. Can you buy Nightingale ice cream bars in a regular grocery store, or are they like order online? Like, where do you procure such a thing?
Can you order ice cream online? Is that a thing?
I don't know. You can order
my house melted.
Yeah, it's amazing. I went to their website. after I was like digging the wrapper out of the garbage from the friend that gave us like one to taste.
Like,
and
hold on,
we
what was
threw it
that?
away. And I'm like, oh man, I forgot the name of it. So I'm going to the garbage, I get the little wrapper out, find it, log on, and they change their flavors every month. So they have like a flavor of the month. And so I go, oh, like, okay, I'm gonna get a box of these, box of those. And you cannot buy them from the Nightingale website, but they tell you where the retailers are, and you can get Gold Belly. And they can't, I mean, they were like frozen solid.
Oh,
So
well, this is changing my whole world. Thank you for that.
Mark.
Mark, what are you binging?
I binge. Well, sticking with the ice cream thing, I love ice cream too,
Yeah.
but not ice cream sandwiches. So
It's winter
Um,
somewhere.
this may not appeal to a New Jersey audience, but I'm a Penn State grad, and the Penn State Creamery is pretty famous, and you can actually order and they will ship it anywhere in the country or the world for that matter. And it's amazing ice cream. And I do that on a not infrequent basis.
How do they ship it? Is it just like
Yeah.
a dry ice box shows up at your house or something?
They pack it in dry ice enough to endure the journey to your front door, and it shows up frozen solid. I've never had a shipment that was melted when it arrived.
Wow.
What will they think of?
I know, right? I never, not even in my wildest dreams did I ever consider that I could get ice cream in the mail.
Yeah.
well, I'll do one better than that. Last year, we found gourmet popsicles for a friend and had those shipped to him. I mean, like champagne,
Unbelievable.
strawberry
I gotta pick
champagne
your brain when
flavored
we're
popsicles.
done. I want to find out all, because you've got all these gourmet options. I'm gonna like give you all the bad things that I love to eat, and you're gonna be like, well, here's the 10 times better gourmet version of that thing.
The grown-up version, yes.
My other binge,
Fine.
my other binge is a little more pedestrian. It's Swedish fish. Since I was,
Oh,
Hey,
since I
it's
was
an
a
oldie
kid,
but a goodie.
yeah, swish. Very
I
oldie,
had
but
I had a paper route as a kid, and there was a penny candy store on my paper route, which I would stop in on my way home every day and buy a bag of Swedish fish, count them out one at a time. And to this day, I'm addicted to the thing.
I always have lemon heads in my kitchen somewhere, stashed away. Lemon heads. I'm with you. That old penny candy, no beating it.
Is there a gourmet version of Swedish fish, Michelle?
There may not be a gourmet version of Swedish fish, but several years back, I was with a girlfriend that's got a bigger sweet tooth than I do, and we were in Telluride, and there is a penny candy, old-fashioned candy store in the middle of Telluride, and you can get. Remember the little cigarettes that they had when you were a
Yeah.
kid, little fake
Candy
cigarettes, and then the wax bottles.
Yeah.
That the stuff was just so nasty. They
Yeah,
had
it
all
was.
things like that.
Oh my God. Too funny. All right. Oh, I was going to say your name, but okay, you beat me to it. I am currently binging not food, but Better Things. Do you remember that show Better Things on FX with Pamela Adlon? She was guest starring on Louis with Louis C.K. way back in the day, and then she got her own show, and it recently came back for their final season. And out of curiosity, I went back and started from the beginning, season 1, episode 1, just to see if it held up, and it is so good. It's on Hulu right now, and I'm watching as many episodes a night as I can. And I will say that I am someone who will chronically watch a show while I'm like doing this on my phone, and that show captures my attention. I am not tempted to scroll while I'm watching Better Things. It's so good. So good.
Awesome.
Yeah. What about you? What are you binging?
I've actually been binging Dharma and Greg for the last few weeks. It was
Talk
one of
about
those things, yeah.
oldie but a goodie.
An oldie but a goodie. It was one of those things where I've never found it on any of the other streaming networks. We only just recently signed back up with Hulu after I don't know, a few years of it being out of the house, and they recommended it to me, and I was like, heck yeah, I want to watch that. So sometimes in your life, you're not looking for like a Breaking Bad. You just want something funny and cute and sweet. And I think with everything going on in the world, at a point where I could use something just kind of nice and wholesome, and it worked out. I don't know.
I like it. I
Yeah.
like it.
But that aside, tell us what you guys do at Verus.
I'll let Mark
This was
jump in
not
on
meant to
this
be a
one to
stumper.
start.
Yeah, right? Not everybody jump at once.
What do we do? Well, Verus started off about 20 years ago as a company that was focused on managing large settlement funds created for the benefit of people who've suffered from occupationally related injuries, largely around asbestos exposures. But over the course of the last 20 years, we've built out a set of core capabilities that lend themselves to other work, including as part of providing the service for managing those settlement funds. We built out a pretty crack team of accountants and finance professionals, and also legal expertise. But those accounting and finance professionals have developed specific expertise in some very specific areas of the tax code. And Michelle and I have known each other since mid 90s or so. We've been working together off and on, and we connected last year with some ideas around the CARES Act and some of the programs created in the CARES Act, and started talking through how we could work together to support small businesses. And I don't want to steal Michelle's thunder, but she did a lot of work for a lot of small businesses over the years. And we came up with this idea that we had all of the necessary ingredients to be able to help businesses determine their eligibility for the employee retention tax credit, and actually help support them in the process of filing with the IRS to receive those refunds. So we launched a new practice area in the fall of last year, and since then we've been helping small businesses around the United States in accessing these federal funds that have been set aside to support small businesses with recovering from the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic.
That's awesome. I know when COVID broke out, we were doing webinars. I say we, Kate and I, but NJBIA, we're doing webinars on how to access that kind of information. And I can tell you thousands of people were showing up asking thousands of questions per webinar. You know, I had the Q&A box open, and it was just twice a second a question would come through. This was something that was outstandingly confusing, outstandingly difficult to a lot of people. So God bless you guys for helping people out with that.
Yeah. My God. I was actually going to say, you know, if in case somebody listens to this 5 years from now, we should explain what the CARES Act is, because, you know, legislation comes and goes so quickly, but yeah, that's incredible. And business is still going strong. Like, people are still asking questions and needing help. That's incredible.
Yeah, and Michelle may want to take this one and explain what the CARES Act is and why people are still asking questions about this, because
Please.
it's been evolving over the course of the pandemic.
Yeah, please do.
Right. And even the professionals are still asking questions because there have been so many changes since it first came out. But when the CARES Act came out, of course, everybody heard about the PPP funds that were available to businesses. And a lot of banks and CPA firms kind of spearheaded the effort, contacting clients and customers and helping them actually sign up for that, because they were getting origination fees to do that. So they were very well versed in it, motivated to get people moved into the PPP. And it was the more lucrative of the two programs at the time. And when that CARES Act first came out, they said, well, you can pick one or the other, the PPP or the employee retention tax credit. You cannot do both. And then as time went on, a few months later, they changed the rules and said, okay, now you can receive both. We're going to make it retroactive, as if you could have always received both. Well, we're just not going to tell anybody that now you can receive both.
Classic.
So that was the first big change. And, you know, that first act didn't give a whole lot of guidance, because, I mean, we all know how clear the government is. So it was a very convoluted program to start with. But now Mark and I have had the benefit of, 20, 22 months of CARES Act being out, and the IRS issuing this guidance along the way that actually helps interpret the original plan that was so difficult to understand. But it really is a quite specialized area. We also represent several CPA firms that just said, hey, this is so specialized. We're not really sure that we understand all the ins and outs. So would you help our clients with the program? So we have been doing that quite a bit lately.
Did you both find that it was hard keeping up with it too? I mean, as confused as a lot of business owners were, was it hard for you guys? Because like you said, they're changing the rules as it's going along.
It's pretty much all I'm doing these days.
Yeah.
So it is a little easier for me to keep up than it probably is for Mark since he's stretched thin. But I've since learned that Mark, I don't think ever sleeps because I get texts and emails from him at all hours of the night. So Mark definitely keeps me on my toes and keeps me going. But it has been such a remarkable program and godsend to our clients that it really motivates me to stay on top of it. Because this employee retention tax credit, it offers business owners up to $26,000 per W-2 employee that they have.
Wow.
Right. And it is, not a loan or a grant like the PPP, so the uses of it are not restricted. So it doesn't have to go necessarily just to payroll. If you have employers that want to upgrade their equipment and their infrastructure, this allows them to do that so they can grow their business.
Yeah. As Michelle said, it really is a godsend for a lot of small businesses who are trying to get back on their feet after the last 2 years. And we've worked with a lot of companies that have been in various levels of distress, and they really appreciate the money we've been able to find for them.
Are there limitations on the kinds of businesses that you can help?
Not
small businesses. That's why I ask.
The limitations aren't specific to any one industry. They're more to do with the size of the business. So the CARES Act originally created the program and made it eligible for open to any business with fewer than 100 full-time W-2 employees. Now that's full-time, not part-time. Part-time employees can exceed that 100 count. In the end of 2020, the American Recovery Plan Act was passed, and they actually extended the eligibility for the 2021 tax year. They expanded it dramatically. Now it's open to any business with fewer than 500 full-time W-2 employees.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
So this is a program that covers a large swath of employers in the United States.
So what is the bigger? Sorry, Ben, go ahead.
No, you.
So at this point, what is the bigger part of your business? The CARES Act stuff or like everything else? I have to believe CARES Act has just taken over your life.
The CARES Act stuff is, as Michelle said, she's spending 100% of her time on it, and I'm probably spending 50% of my time on the CARES Act work right now.
Incredible.
So it's significant. But it's also a significant benefit to our clients, and that's what keeps us going.
Yeah, I don't blame you. All right, on that note, we're going to take a quick break and be right back. And welcome back. And now we're going to ask a second get to know you question. And today that question is, are you a morning person or a night person?
I think we started with Michelle last time, so let's go with Mark first now.
Yes, Mark, you're up.
I think Michelle already dimed me out. I'm definitely a night owl. Do not expect to get me in a meeting before at a minimum 8 in the morning. And even that's pushing it.
Yeah. But I was going to say, I don't even understand morning people. Like, I don't get anything about it.
That's not true. I'm a morning person, and you and I are like almost besties at this point.
Yes, but I don't understand that part. Like, okay, so here's what I don't understand about you. So we get off work, what, like 5, 6 o'clock-ish, right? And you're in bed like 8 o'clock-ish. You watch a lot of TV. How do you do that? Like, are you up at 4 o'clock in the morning watching TV?
No, but I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I start work by like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I have this thing where my brain after starting at 7:30, my brain is just done by 4 o'clock. So at 4 o'clock, I literally walk away from the laptop. I sit myself on the couch. I turn on the TV and I monitor my work using this lovely device here. And every once in a while, I work later than 4 o'clock, but mostly my brain is done. I don't make good decisions after 4 o'clock. In fact,
Okay.
earlier this week, President and CEO Michelle Sikorsky asked me for
Shout out to
something.
her.
Shout out to Michelle. And I should have waited. She did not tell me that it was an emergency. She didn't say it was a rush job. But I was like, it's Michelle. I want to get this back to her. There was like a giant typo in it. I should have waited because my brain was done for the day. So yeah, that's how I watch that much TV.
Michelle.
Ooh. Well, I used to be the night owl, but then when you start, getting to that age where the numbers start with fives, I find myself getting up earlier and earlier and earlier. So I'm kind of like Kate, get up, at the gym by 7, start work, 8 o'clock. Yes, 8 o'clock is a good bedtime. And we had this little dog until very recently, bless her little heart. But 8 o'clock was her bedtime too. And if you weren't ready to go to bed, she would walk off down the hallway, sit beside the bed, stare up at the bed until you walked in and put her up. And if you weren't fast enough, she would come back down the hall and give you one of those looks like, I disapprove of you so much right now. So
Wow.
yeah, 8 o'clock, good bedtime.
I think so.
So between Michelle and I, we pretty much have 24-hour coverage for our
Right?
clients.
Like,
There we
got a
go.
perfect
So
setup.
true.
I
So
don't
true.
know. I think it's the sort of thing where I can go, let's say like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. If I were to be up at that point, that's when I could start feeling tired. And then I have to get up early because we get my daughter out to daycare around 7. But then I'll dive back into bed, and I've got this work down to a science. Like during the pandemic, while I'm working at home, I don't have to be on the computer until 9, and I don't have to look podcast beautiful. So I can get out of bed at like 8:53 or like 8:49, still get a shower in and get to the computer in time. But yeah, like if only we could really, tailor the times we're working to what's actually like functional for our brains. People say that, but then when I have to collaborate with Kate at 9 a.m., it never works out. So
To
yeah.
be fair, I haven't made you go to a 9 a.m. meeting in a long time.
She's right.
I make an exception. I have a morning huddle with my team at 8 a.m. every day. But it's 10 minutes long, and then I take a nap.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I don't really start until 9:30.
I
Okay.
can't.
All right, well,
In
I have
order-
a confession to make, Mark. On our Tuesday morning, what is it, 8 o'clock? Well, 9 o'clock for you, 8 o'clock for
That's
me, conference calls. There
Yeah,
are
wait.
some
Where are you
times
both
during the
located?
hours. I'm in Biloxi, Mississippi.
And Mark?
Mark?
Princeton, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
So,
So
Michelle,
yeah, is that time difference hard?
We haven't had any difficulties with it. It's an hour difference, and we're an hour ahead. Now the static.
So, like I said, that conference call, it's 8 o'clock for me. So there have been a couple of times I've, been in the PJs.
here's my thing. Here's my thing. In
Well,
order
I'm typically in a baseball cap and a t-shirt.
No judgment, but here's the thing. In order to be able to think properly for that 8 o'clock or even 9 o'clock, I would need coffee. And after I've had coffee, I cannot go back to sleep. How do you do that? Practice?
I have built up a caffeine resistance that you wouldn't believe. I drink coffee all day long, and it doesn't affect me anymore.
Well, the meeting's only 10 minutes. I think I could pull it together for 10 minutes before because he says he dives right back into bed afterwards. So,
Exactly. I've got a team full of morning people, so I have to throw them a bone now and then. So I'm like, okay, I'll get up and I'll talk to you at 8 o'clock, but you've got 10 minutes.
All right. But speaking of the different time zones in different areas of the country, one of the things I wanted to ask about before, you guys had mentioned that you do this nationally. Did you find anything specific about your experiences with New Jersey while doing this?
That's an excellent question. New Jersey, which won't come as a surprise to a lot of the businesses located in New Jersey, was one of the states with more restrictive government orders that put a lot of restraints
That sounds right.
on the way businesses had to operate over the course of the pandemic. Starting in mid-March through even today. Many of the government orders have been lifted, but we're still dealing with some of the after. I know in my own business, we had limitations on the hours of operations and how many people we could have in the office at any one time. And those limitations stayed in place until not too long ago. In addition to that, we're dealing with supply chain restrictions and a whole host of follow-on effects.
Right, and I noticed that as well in Mississippi. Our government orders expired in March of 2021. And when we look at businesses, New York and New Jersey, most of those were impacted through May. And even more recently, they're reenacting some of those capacity restrictions, testing restrictions. But, I felt like a pariah at some point during the pandemic when all of these states started enacting orders saying, okay, well, if you're coming from Mississippi, you have to quarantine when you get here. New York did that. The city of Chicago did it. So I'm finding there are much more restrictions in the Northeast part than what I had to deal with in the South. So that, of course, has impacted your businesses there more than it's impacted the businesses that I'm seeing in the South.
Right. All of which creates potential eligibility for the ERTC because it's a very facts and circumstances specific assessment around how those government mandates affected your particular business.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot at the IA, not necessarily on this show, about how crazy it could be where on one side of a bridge, you could have certain regulations, and then on the other side of the bridge in Pennsylvania, you could have completely different regulations, but you could have two businesses on both sides of that bridge, like 2 blocks away from each other, running the same kind of businesses on entirely different sorts of, rules.
Well, and what we've noticed is that businesses have different impacts depending on which counties they're in. For example, I know that Mark lives in one county and works in another county, and the impacts that he sees in those 2 different counties are different. We've faced that in Mississippi as well. We had some counties that had more capacity restrictions. We could only have 25% capacity in restaurants in some cities, and other cities allowed 75% capacity. And I'm proud of the work that Verus GP does in tailoring our service to the particular business. And we go beyond just saying, okay, all restaurants in New Jersey are treated equally. We look at the particular business because there may be some restaurants that made the transition to takeout and their business was less impacted than the restaurants who didn't do a takeout service and waited for the government order on in-room dining capacities to be restricted. So that's part of our analysis, is to look at it, each business separately. And while we can see that certain industries are more impacted than others, that doesn't mean that every business is going to suffer the same impact.
Yeah.
Really good
All
point.
right. I got 2 other questions here. So 1, anything coming up you guys want to promote?
Well, I know we're going to be doing a series of webinars. I believe that Mark's going to put that on our Verus GP website, which you can find at www.verusgpllc.com.
And then the other one, if somebody wants to apply, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, there's also a link on that particular website that you can click and ask for a consultation. And Mark or I or our Verus GP staff will reach out to you in response to that. Or you can email to info@verusgpllc.com or directly to me at mbenton@verusgpllc.com.
Cool.
Nice. One quick addition. Verus GP is doing a webinar for NJBIA. This episode will drop after that webinar wraps up, but the recording of the webinar will be on njbia.org. So if you want to view it, you should definitely feel free to come find it.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Excellent. All right, so I think that's the show. Thank you to our listeners, especially the subscribers. We so appreciate the support. Thank you to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, the official sponsor of the show. They do home, auto, and workers' comp, so check them out. And finally, thanks to Mark Eveland and Michelle Benton, co-founders of Verus GP, for joining us today. Thank you, guys.
Thank you both.
Big thank
All
you
right.
to you, Vinny. Thanks.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.